Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and tonight I'm joined by my lovely co-host Dana.
Hello.
We are back discussing Dawson's Creek season 2. Tonight we're discussing episodes 4 through 6. So I'll roll the credits and we'll get right into it. So episode 4 is titled Tomorrow's Return. And she sure did return.
Man, she made a splash, and I just kept thinking, I'm like, this girl, what is she doing here? Like, it is weird. Like, why are you here? I
Right.
don't really know a full answer as to, like, other than she wants to sell
So
her
apparently she had
sister.
real estate that she's trying to get rid of.
Yeah.
But I feel like you were the new teacher. So this is the same school year. So you were the new teacher in town last semester. You had time to own real estate that you now have to get rid of.
Yeah. Multiple properties. It's
Right.
like, okay. Oh my God.
So she runs into Dawson and his dad, and so Dawson's on red alert. He's like, I have to find Pacey right now.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
Pacey and Andy are in their little bantery, I think we like each other phase. And Dawson can't get a word in edgewise with him to see him and speak to him in private, so he doesn't get to tell him.
No, yeah.
And Pacey invites Andy to go for a walk around town after school, and he happens upon Tomorrow.
Yeah, they walk right into each other, and it's like that awkward moment where you have with an ex. It's like
Yeah,
they play the whole scene like as if it's been years since they've seen each other, and Pacey literally stops mid sentence, like right there in the middle of the
right.
street, just like
So she introduces herself because Pacey doesn't have words.
no, brain no worky,
Yeah.
404 error.
And she says she has an appointment she has to get to. And Pacey kind of freaks out and he's like, I actually can't hang out right now. I have to go take care of something. And he chases after Tamara and he sees her go into, I guess, this warehouse building she owns.
Yeah, he immediately stalks her. I was running right after her. I was
Right.
like, God damn it, not again. We're not doing this again. I can't.
So then he ends up going to Dawson's and he's like, that thing you wanted to tell me? He's like, you really should have tried harder to tell me. He's like, I tried.
He legitimately did try in the school. He was just kind of like, "Hey, man, hey, we need to talk." And then of course Andy's standing right there. He's like, "I can't tell you what just happened in front of her. Like, you're not gonna want me to do that. So we need." And he's just like, "I'm gonna be late for class." It's like, what? Okay, like man couldn't even step aside. Totally blew him off.
But Dawson does give him good advice. He tells him, don't get involved in that again. He's like, just don't. He's like, it was bad. He's like, there was almost legal ramifications last time. Like, don't do it.
The one time Dawson is clear-headed one that makes rational decisions. Literally the one time.
Meanwhile, Jen and Abby are becoming besties in a weird way.
I hate that. Oh, God, I hate it. It's awful. They're awful. Like the two of them together are like the worst. Bring the worst. It makes Abby worse if it's possible, and Jen, like, who is this girl? I don't even know her.
Right. I still feel I don't feel bad for Jen, but I feel more sympathy towards Jen. Abby's just a raging bitch. Um, they're out to lunch after a shopping spree, and Abby sets her eyes on this older guy that's working on the boats.
Yeah.
And she decides that she's gonna fuck him, I guess. And
Yeah.
she kept bringing up maybe he has illegitimate children. Is that a turn on for you?
There was a wild thing Abby said about this man that she did not know. Like a lot of assumptions she made just on the outskirts. And it was just kind of like he's super hot, but like I bet you all these things. It's like, girl, ew. Like
Like, Jen's like, "He's, like, old enough to be your father," and she's like, "He probably has illegitimate children all up and down the Eastern Seaboard." Like, that's a hot thing for you?
Like, damn girl, what is going on in your home life to make you like this? That's what
Right.
I always wanna know.
But he takes more of an interest in Jen, who's just kinda sitting there quiet and minding her own business and just kinda, like, smirking at him.
And being a normal human being, not literally I screwing someone from across a restaurant, saying
Right.
like the most horrific things. Like,
Um, so Joey has taken an interest in art through that woman that she interviewed for her project about, like, being a single working mom,
yeah.
successful single working mom. Um, um, so she goes to an art lecture, which Dawson attends with her, and Dawson's not so much into it. He's more into film. He likes the beginning, middle, and end. He doesn't really understand art.
I hate that because like Joey listens to him go on and on and on about film. The boy can't sit through one lecture, literally, not one, without doing a little this.
I mean, I
Like,
got when he was like, he's like, I don't know, maybe I'm just not that into it. I'm like, you're not gonna let it be at that. You're just gonna continue to spiral and talk shit about
yeah,
this.
right. And he does. And then that proceeds to keep digging himself into a horrific hole
He
for
like
which he
calls
will never.
it a hobby, and immediate Joey's like, how come when you like something, it's like your life's passion, but for me, it's a hobby.
For real. Literally. For real.
And he even says, I knew when
It's
I
like
said it that I like it was wrong, like, but he tries to like brush it off like it was like just him being silly.
the boy ain't mature enough. He just isn't. He ain't there. That's why they shouldn't be together. She go to France.
So of course, for plot purposes, the gallery that Joey's gonna go see is the artist that happens to be Jack's favorite artist ever, and they kind of bond on that.
Well, like I think what happens is that because Dawson shows like zero interest in art, she's just like, oh, gotta go to this gallery now thing, and and I think doesn't Betsy ask Joey to ask Jack to go because
Yeah.
he's just not doing anything. He's just
Well, yeah, because
they
it's
also
dead at the restaurant, and Joey's like, "Well, since it's dead," she's like, "Can I go to the gallery?" She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Why don't you bring Jack since he's not doing anything?"
he's not making friends. He's literally just sitting there at the table, like pouring salt into like containers. And they've been railing on this poor kid for like the previous half of the episode about how horrible of a waiter he is. And
Yeah.
he just does not know how to do his job, which is like, damn. um, and then somehow, and then there she is. He's this art guy. He knows everything there is to know about this artist that they're going to see, or the types of art and stuff. So, and I was all, see what's happening.
So Dawson ends up showing up to that as they're like done, and Joey made me laugh because she's
Yeah.
like, she's like, you showed up, you get brownie points for that or something like that.
Right, like we just did. I love how Dawson's like, "Why you want to go to the gallery? Let's go." And he's just like, "I already went." And
Yeah.
it's like, so he didn't even know what time the whole thing was supposed to pop off. Like it's just, oh, this is such typical boy shit, man. This is what they do. Straight men suck.
um. So Andy pays Dawson a visit at his house, and she's like, "I know this is weird. We don't really know each other. That I'm like in your house right now." She's like, "But like, has Pacey mentioned that he likes anybody?"
And he picks. She's been like literally wrenching the man's boxers for
Right.
like the whole time he's standing there. She's fucking around with this. I'm like, the man's dirty underwear. I was like, girl, put it down.
Right.
And I'm trying to play
I'm like, don't put
coy.
it on your face. Don't be like.
Oh God! It's like, at one point she kept like lifting it up and then like going down. I'm like, Oh, Lord help me, like, I swear to God, just drop the underwear, like, right there, I was like, "This girl's been holding this underwear for, like, 20 minutes." She's gonna walk away with it too,
So he
multiple
mentions
times.
that like the more a guy picks on you, that means he likes you. So she kind of takes that as a yes that he might like her.
I hated that. I hate that. Oh, I hate that so much. I don't the same thing with, like, the vice versa, like, when a girl's, like, picks no, no, of
And
course, wrong idea.
she makes Dawson promise that like does not say anything to him that she was there, and he says, "Of course," but he like totally does like breaks that promise.
Immediately, like, immediately goes crazy, he's like, "Yo," it's the talk about the teacher. He's like, "Listen,
Yeah,
you got someone who's your age
girl. He says
that
a
like
girl. You need a girl, not a woman. A girl.
yeah, like, you're a boy, you're not a man." Like, girl, gosh, it's a
Like
different thing.
we know you just turned 16, so you're what, a year older now, but like, well, not even because it's the same
Yeah,
school year, but like, it's still illegal.
yeah, not good enough, not good enough.
Okay,
Ugh.
so like, so Pacey goes to visit Tamara at her beach house, and she mentions that, I guess this author Pinter, and she mentions how they're having a Pinter moment because they're saying a lot by not saying anything at all. And goddamn, the show, it still got me. I was like, I know it's wrong, but they have chemistry. I'm a
Well,
sucker for
listen, like,
unrequited love. Like I'm just a sucker for like that like longing to want to be
I
together.
listen, I'd be I'd be lying to you if I didn't go, like, the scene where they meet up for, like, the 3rd time, when
Uh-huh.
they finally give in to each other, I was like, "Oh," like, like, "This is wrong, but okay." Like like, they do, like, between the 2 of that like, it's weird also. I'm sure it's obviously very weird for the actors because I know that he's not actually Joshua Jackson's not actually 16, but very
Yeah,
close, and that woman she's older, so I'm sure it was, like, a little weird, but
yeah.
they play it off really good. They had me, but it's still wrong. No, no, no. No, no, no. Adult.
Like I don't know. I kind of swooned. Like I don't know. Like I was in it when she was like,
Whoa!
she was like,
Yeah.
stay in school, Pacey, and he's like, yes, Miss Jacobs. I was like that. I don't know. I thought it was cute. Like
Like, this is not I can't. It's like, "No, no, no, like, don't be trying to trick me into this, like, it's good writing, I'll give you that, I
emotional
love the
blackmail.
writing." Exactly, like, don't suck me with wonderful romance writing now, like, I know it's wrong, I'm not gonna be tricked into thinking it ain't wrong, but I feel you 'cause I literally the same thing, I went, "Oh, okay." Like we're going there. All right. I mean, like, and then there's the other relationship with Jen and that guy and the guy, and it's kind of like that's not good either. Like he's like in his 20s. It's closer, but like it's
Yeah,
still very much like, oh God, stop making these bad choices. But you make room because they're so young and they're dumb. The adults are the ones you gotta upset at, really. Like Miss Jacobs is the one who's really the
yeah.
wrongest of them out of
Um.
that. Yeah.
So what happened next? Oh, so Joey and Dawson have a conversation about her art and why she's reacting to the way he's acting, the way she is. And she
Yeah.
explains how like he was her whole world and she like for so long and she doesn't really know what she's interested in outside of him. And I feel like this is the beginning of the like they're laying the groundwork for her like trying to figure out who she is outside of Dawson.
Right.
And I like here was you like
Right.
gritting your teeth like you should have went to France.
It's like it's because you're having a struggle. She should have went to France. Like I was sitting here, like as she's like having like this moment where she realizes that there's nothing else but Dawn, and now she's got him. It's like, what's next? And it's
Right.
like, yes, because France would have been next. That would
Right.
have been the thing. You realized this while you were in France. Like
Right.
it's I get it. I get it so hard because I just feel like I've been this girl. I've never had an opportunity to go to France, but like you give up opportunities because you're so infatuated with this person
Hmm.
that like you just can't stop, like your whole body reacts to them physically. Like you don't, it's a totally different feeling you've never felt before.
Right.
And you feel like you must do anything and everything for this person.
Hmm.
And as an adult, you're looking back at that, you're like, you never have to. Just go to France. You'll find somewhere more. Like that's all you want to scream with this girl.
Yeah.
Like the entire and this is
So they
it.
kind of end
This
things
is
on a
it.
good
Like
note because she's kind of like,
yeah,
don't. Can we just leave this as is? Like, do you need like without a
yeah.
resolution right now? She's like, I'm trying because she doesn't know. She's trying to figure things out for herself. So they reluctantly do, and they hug, and everything's fine with them. Um,
For now.
Pacey visits Miss Jacobs at her warehouse, and
Mhm.
that's when they have the conversation that they know nothing could ever happen between them, and they kind of use not analogies, but or metaphors. They cloak they cloak their language. He's trying to say, "Do you
Mhm.
miss me?" But he says, "Do you miss teaching?" And she's like,
Yeah.
her eyes are welling up, and she's like, "Very much." And he's just kind
Ugh.
of like, "Okay."
Right. And like that's what I'm saying. Like all those moments, they're beautifully written.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if they were
So
the
like you
same
said,
age,
when he first tried to leave, he of course like circled back and they like made out passionately, and I was like, "Oh shit." I was like,
that's
he
what
looks
I
like he
mean.
grew.
Like,
He looks like he got a little taller over the summer. Like he looks more adult. Like,
it's like, obviously, like what they got some legitimate chemistry, like as two people, and
uh,
that's like what makes it so messy. Because you're kind of like, oh god, they obviously have something going on between the two of them, but like the dynamics cannot be overcome. Not
yeah,
until like he grows up. He needs a chance to grow up.
yeah,
And like also with Andy in the picture, I kind of feel like it's even worse because it's like that's what it's the most appropriate. Andy doesn't have like power
yeah.
and knowledge that precedes Pacey. So it's kind of like when that dynamics in play, it's not going to work out.
Right.
Could they be together when he's like in his 20s and she's in their mid 30s, 40s, or whatever? Hell yeah. Go on then. He's an adult. You can make choices, but it's just
Right.
right now, timing's the worst, but they obviously have some heat. Because I
Yeah.
literally clutched my pearls, like metaphorical pearls.
So he finds Andy and he sits down in front of her at like a cafe. And then she immediately is like, Dawson told you, didn't he? And he's like, told me what?
I love that scene. She's like, he totally told you. He's like, I don't know.
She basically was like, it's like gas, it's gonna pass. She's like, wait, I think it just did. And he's like, you like me, you really like me.
Oh, I love them together. I think I think they're like the perfect kind of pair where like he's just, they're both witty and they could just do little zingers. I really want them to succeed. I hope they do.
Um, she spots Miss Jacobs getting into her car, and she's like, "Oh, don't you know that woman?" And he's like, "I used to." And we see her drive off, and that's the end of them. So
Yeah.
it's a nice little tease. I guess they were trying to get the ratings up by like being like, "Ooh, it's back! Like the affair is gonna start up again."
Well, that's a good question. 'Cause I was thinking, I'm like, what does she really need? Like, I thought their storyline wrapped up beautifully in season one.
Hmm.
They decided it was over, and like, did they need another? Like, it's over again. Like, did you
Yeah.
really need to come back? So, like, some of the scenes where she's like talking to Mitch, I
Hmm.
was like, oh, are they gonna make it extra messy
Yeah.
with Mitch? Oh my goodness. So that's where I thought they were ultimately going to go for the next couple
Yeah.
episodes.
You never know.
Mhm.
Um. So episode 5 is titled "Full Moon Rising." It's all about the
Mhm.
full moon and how it makes
Yeah,
people do crazy things.
that's right. Some weird
Um,
shit.
Abby was just really Abbying this episode. She makes Jen go with her down to the docks to see that sailor guy that they met, Vincent. And she basically talks down to him, all about calling him the help and how she likes to like slum it. But he still has eyes for Jen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, who would want eyes for Abby? Like, who talks like that? I mean, like, she immediately turns on Jen, like, the minute
Yeah.
that
Well, she clocks it
she gets
and she's like,
like loser, and then leaves, which was messed. It's like she's not a good person, like at all.
she
She does
basically
not have
calls
any
Jen
regret.
she basically calls Jen a slut, and a bunch of other names, and Jen like slaps the shit out of her.
Yeah,
And is like, do
yeah,
not
that
ever
was
talk to me ever again.
yeah, it was well, like the fact that they were even like semi talking already was kind of weird to me because like Abby was being really horrific towards Jen.
Right.
And it was just like completely unwarranted, like immature, bad behavior.
Well, did you see what
And
Abby was doing when she found her in the store? She was like shoplifting. Every time Jen put something down, she put it in her purse.
yeah,
Did you
oh
notice
no, I
that?
didn't clock that. No, I didn't do that. I just hate the way their dynamic works.
Uh-huh.
Abby's instigator, so it's kind of like feeds into like the worst parts of people's like personalities. She's like a weird demon of some sort that it's just like is like a weird vibe person.
Yeah.
But yeah, so every scene she's in, I'm always just like, who talks? How does she have anyone to talk to? She's awful. She's just legitimately awful as a person.
So Jen
So this
invites Vincent over her house, I guess, to like just hang out, knowing that
yeah.
Grams has Bible study. And I thought it was funny.
And she's
Grams is always gonna try. She's like, "You want to come to Bible study with me?" And I was like, "She never wants to go to Bible study with you. Like, just assume the answer's always no." Like,
she says she's like, it's the book of John. That's when he blesses all sinners. Doesn't that sound awesome?
she's like, if you
Just
take the
like,
religion out of it, she's like, you might even find it to be fun. And she's like, I'll pass.
yeah. I was like, I don't even know what the hell that's supposed. I don't get that reference, but oh damn, Grandma, you bark up the wrong tree,
She's
girl.
always gonna try. Poor Grams.
Bless her heart is all I say. That
Joey and Jack are working at the ice house and it's dead. There's one customer who apparently has just been sitting there drinking coffee all night and he will not leave so they can close up. um,
this might be homeless,
um,
and that was weird. It disappears.
Jack's pretty much like, why are you always so angry?
True. True, bro. That's it. Again, like sometimes I love it when some random characters, like side characters that you haven't really seen very much, like just calling our main characters out for exactly what they're doing. Like
Uh-huh.
write that in there. Like, are you mad, Joey? Why are you always so mad all the time?
Um, Andy and Pacey are still doing their banter thing, and he's like, "You want to go out?" And she was just like, "Well, if you ask me politely." And he like says, "Would you go on a date with me?" And she's like, "All right." So there's a little confusion about the pickup because first she says she'll meet him at the movies, and then he says, "No, I can pick you up. It's a date." And she's like, "Oh," she's like, "Well, maybe we'll meet at the ice house." So they never, because there's so many options. I think he gets confused and he's not really sure, so he just goes to her house.
I think Pacey was right at the end because I think they settled on like she kind of gave in, and he's like, "Okay, I'll pick you up at the house." And I think she was like, "I'm going to the ice house. I cannot be at my home." And
Yeah, I
that's
think the
why.
last thing he said, no, it's a date. I'll pick, and then he was like, "I'll see you at 7:30," and she was like, "Okay." So I
Yeah,
think he
yeah,
meant at the house.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Uh,
she's not there because she went to the movie theater and he didn't show, and she waited till like the movie started. Then she goes to the ice house and he's not there. So then she starts freaking out that he's home. Well, he's at her home with her mother.
yeah.
So we meet her mom. And apparently we find out that they had an older brother that died in a car accident and maybe the mom was driving and she kind of
Yes,
had like a
she
mental
was doing
break.
she was doing the right thing. She was driving home for for her family. Her husband was drinking, and she was
Mhm.
driving. But she was driving. She was sober, and she didn't see the car coming, and it got hit. And then now she's suffering
Yeah.
severe mental breakdown from trauma,
Right.
and she's not always there when people are around. So like Andy's super duper like freaked out about anybody like
Finding
interacting
this
with
out.
her. That's not
Yeah.
nuclear family. Yeah.
We find out that the father doesn't live with them. He still lives in Providence with the business that's failing, and he kind of checks in
Yeah.
on once a week.
Yeah.
So there's
Oh,
that also.
Andy's yeah, Andy's fam, Jack and Andy are not doing too hot at home.
Right.
They're doing the best they can. Oh,
Jack seems to understand that, like, for the most part, she could be okay. She just has her moments, and so when Andy's freaking out, he's like, "Calm down." He's like, she's fine." Like, I mean, she must be fine enough that they're able to leave her alone at home.
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, like, she's got, I think obviously, what I think happens is that the mom has like breaks, like
Mhm.
periodically, probably high stress situations,
Yeah.
which is not so great when it comes to being a parent because that, like, high stress comes with the territory, I'd imagine. So
Right.
I'd imagine like a Sandy and Fred are doing the lion's share of responsibility. Like she can obviously feed herself, go, do the bathroom, the whole thing. She don't need an attendant with her like every day or every hour of the day. But yeah, if it's like a
Yeah.
high flashing moment, I'd imagine she'll freak out, and then that they witnessed it, and then they've also been traumatized. I felt it was rough for the poor Andy,
Right.
and then her and Pacey have a cute moment in the kitchen.
She tries to push him away because she's like, "No," she's like, "I don't want your pity," and he like basically forces a hug on her, and he like comforts her and holds her. It was sweet.
Yeah.
Um,
Heart of gold, that pig. Pacey.
so Mitch gets jealous because Gail is having a coworker come over for a dinner, and it's not Thursday. So well, he says it's not Thursday, and Dawson's like, "What's Thursday?" Because he's like sitting in the kitchen as they're like talking about this.
I feel like Mitch is being extra. Well, yeah, Dawson is all like detective boy, like trying to figure out what's going on.
Right.
And I think Mitch is a little extra though.
He goes so far as
Uh,
to invite Tamara. Tamara, does she know she stops by? I couldn't tell if he invited her because it felt a little too contrived if he didn't call her.
he
That she
set
was
it
coming
up.
over with the blueprints.
Yes, I think he set it up after he found out that Gail was having a coworker over, which is what she
Right.
said it was, like a coworker. It did feel very datey once like he showed up,
Right.
but like the whole interaction felt very much like Mitch getting soft about something that could easily be like a dinner between the three of them. Like I didn't
Mhm.
know why Mitch couldn't be involved in whatever it is she was doing with this guy. Like he's gonna be at the house. You really think she's just gonna what's she gonna do in the house while you're there? Like that's
Right.
kind of freaking crazy. So like the whole thing felt like Mitch kind of took it to another level and they kind of kept going like this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like let's just up the ante each time.
Yeah.
And tomorrow shows up wanting just to be like, "Man, I just want to sell you this property, okay? Like I
Right.
don't want
But wine is flowing. They're each entertaining their separate guests.
right. In separate rooms and separate parts of the house." And of course,
Yeah.
like Dawson's like, "What's going on?" Again, only adult, like normal thinking person amongst many other adults who are just like, "Why am I here? I don't
Right.
know why I'm here."
Abby shows up at Jen's house, and she walks in, and she's like, "I can't believe you hit me." And she's like, after you called me a slut amongst other things, she's like, "But I would." She's like, "I'm your best friend. I would never hit you."
Like, this is psychotic. Abby is crazy.
She is.
She's certifiable.
She
Like,
cracked me up
who
though.
who gets a telephone 5-finger slap to the face, right? Like, ah, and then shows up to that girl's house and says, "Oh, we're best friends." Like, acting like nothing happened, right? She's crazy. Oh, like, I would be scared. I'd be scared of her.
So Dawson goes upstairs
Oh,
after witnessing whatever's happening with his parents, and he finds Abby in his bedroom with binoculars spying on Jen's date with Vincent. And he's like, "What are you doing in my
absolutely.
room?" So she says
Yeah.
that, "Oh, Jen's on a date, and I just like want to make sure that everything's gonna be okay." And he's like, "Get out of my room." He's like, "I don't like you. We're not friends." And this is
I
the
think
scene
I
where she's like, Joey doesn't have to know. She's like massaging him, and he's like, "It's not gonna happen."
yeah. Well, I remember thinking to myself, I was just like, how does Dawson feel safe with people that have access to his bedroom 24/7? Like,
He every time he walks
Joey's
in his
going
bedroom, he
in there.
turns on the light. There's somebody sitting there. It's-
Seriously, you're never be able to walk in this boy's bedroom without being anyone. Like, how does he ever have any privacy?
and you know,
Everyone
Joe, you
apparently
never
knows
know.
that
Joey could be in the closet. That's her favorite spot to sit. Like,
anytime. He could just be trying to have like personal private time. And there's Joey. Oh, hey, what's going on? Why are you here? Like, don't you call? People call. Like Pacey always showed up like a bunch of people. It was wild.
so
But
Abby's
yeah,
like, "Can we just
definitely.
kiss?" And Abby's like, "Can we just kiss in front of the window and like so Jen could be jealous?" And he's like, "No." And she's like, "Well, could you tell her? She'll believe you." And
She
he's
tried.
like, "No." He's like, "You and Joey can have like an open relationship or whatever." And that's what triggers in his head what Thursday nights are, because then he runs downstairs and he's like, "Can I talk to each of you alone in the kitchen?"
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, "Do you
Oh
guys have an open
God.
marriage?"
Again, like Gail having her have like 13, 15, 16-year-old kids tell her, guys, get your life right. What
Right.
are you guys doing?
Well, he says
I
to his
mean,
he kind of says to his dad what you were saying last week. He's like, "Make a decision, like forgive her. You had like and fix this. Like just make a decision, even if you don't forgive her. Like you can't just like string her along." He's like, "You
right.
have to let it go because we can't live like
You
this."
can't. Well, it's not okay to hold your partner prisoner
Hmm.
at any time, any reason, doesn't matter. Like
Hmm.
if you're unhappy, you can't trust this woman, can't be with her, that's what it is. The end. You divorce.
Right.
There's a way to get out of this situation. You don't have to be stuck here. But you also don't get to punish her forever. So like if you choose to be with her, you have to move on. That's the problem. That's how the whole thing even started during the whole night. Is he gets pissy about the idea of any man being near her at
Right.
any given time.
Right.
Kind of like this woman is the working woman of the household. She's the breadwinner, as we know in the episode. She's got some of her own resentment about him because
Yeah.
she's been footing the bill her whole life. And that
Right.
house ain't cheap. The house is huge. They
It's
got
huge, and it's on the
multiple
water.
cars. Seriously, like it doesn't cost her. So like she's doing all this work, and it kind of puts the relationship into more focus because in the beginning you're like, fuck Gail, like what'd she do this for? She's perfectly happy. He loves her. Like why would she cheat on him? Makes no
Yeah.
sense. And like as you get to know them a little bit more, you start to realize like, oh, they have their own little resentments towards each other. Because she feels like he's not pulling his weight, and then he doesn't feel like she's fully supporting him in his dreams. And it's like, but how many dreams have you had, Mitch? Is
Right.
this the second, third, fourth dream we've
I feel
tried to
like
go
she
after?
I feel like she said she brought that up out of spite. I don't think she if they were on good terms, I don't think she would have thrown that in his face. She would have continued to support him. I think it was just
Yes,
something she needed as ammo in their argument that she threw in his face.
that is true. People do that. At the same time, sometimes those things come out because they're things that you never really address because of the guilt maybe that she felt because she was stepping out on him, or
Yeah.
who knows how long that's been going on. And also, like that's a hard conversation to have with a loved one. Like,
Yeah.
hey man, like I love you and I support you in your dreams, but like, is there anything you can do that would be money making part of the dream? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like toughy. And sometimes people don't do those conversations. And it breeds resentment in your heart, makes you do things you probably wouldn't normally do if you did address it properly. Like that's what I mean. Like there's more here in the relationship than what
Yeah.
we initially saw as like the happy, the lucky, like no problems here family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so much. There's more
Yeah.
onion, more layers. Yeah.
Um, so things get hot and heavy with Jen and Vincent, and I guess it goes a little further than she anticipated, and she doesn't want to, and she ends up screaming,
Right?
"I'm 16," and he's like, "What?" And Grams walks in, and
Yeah.
she's like, "She's 16 years old." She's like, "And God, not even God will be able to help you if you don't get off of my granddaughter."
Literally, after they were talking about like their most embarrassing sexual encounters, she
Right.
just says like, "Oh, I got caught having sex in my parents' bed," and there you go. He's trying to have it go down on their kitchen table. Oh,
I mean, like, he had to know she was a teenager, at least. Maybe not 16, but, like, he had to know. She was hanging out with
yeah.
Abby.
Well, yeah, like, I mean, depend Abby was a dead giveaway, I will say that for sure. Because he says he's trying to go to law school. I don't know, like, we don't really know how old he is, but let's say he's, like, in his early 20s, let's give him that at least, like, he gone to
Yeah,
undergrad. Um, but, like, either way, like, she does look really young. Michelle Yeoh's probably looks the oldest out of all of them, but Abby is the problem here. Yeah, she looks really
yeah,
young, and if you're hanging out with someone like Abby, there's no
yeah,
way you're not much older than her, you know?
right.
So, this kid is yeah, it's not good. It's not good. I won't be tricked. They're smooth talking moments and the happy no, 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 no. I won't be done. No. Good romance writing gonna trick me into liking inappropriate couples.
Right. So I don't know what's going on at the ice house. I don't know if they, like, kept having, like, a power outage, because I remembered the lights going out, but I'm like, "Was there a storm that made the lights go out?" But I don't know. It
They
keeps
had so there was, like, a scene where, like, she was freaking out about the lobsters, I think, they were in the tank,
Yeah,
and he was like, "I'm gonna fix it," and took some pliers and then basically, like, cut the probably a power line or something that happens, and then that guy at the table, he's like, "Unplug it and plug it back in," and I was like, "Ah, that's it. It's how it
yeah,
fixes everything every
yeah,
technology, unplug it, plug it back in." And everything goes back on. So I'm thinking the cutting of the lights was another short from that previous moment where they're fussing with the whatever was going on with the plug and the
right.
lobster tank. That's what I thought it was. But that moment was it was so romantic. Weirdly enough, this whole episode is kind of romantic considering how much mess happened at the same time. You know, like these moments of like, oh, they're kissing. I
Yeah,
can't.
so
I
he
like,
leaves, I guess, when they weren't looking or maybe when the lights were out, and
yeah.
he hid his tip under the paper towel, so Joey didn't think he tipped, but he actually tipped him, I think, like, $100.
Yeah.
'Cause Joey's like, "We're rich." I'm like, "You're not rich," but I guess at 16, you're like, "Oh my god, I'm rich."
In the late 90s, 60 to $100 was pretty rich. You could
Right.
get a lot of stuff with $100 at that time, for sure.
So the light goes out again, and we see, like, the big moon, and Jack, like,
When's
grabs Joey and kisses her.
Yeah, they, like, read this like, the guy leaves a poem on the napkin, and it's
Yeah,
a very, like, romantic poem, kinda suggesting, like, take the shot, basically, like, don't miss out on opportunity,
yeah.
and I guess Jack as his sign to kiss Joey because, like I told you, he was giving her eyeballs. He was eyeballing her. The minute she get into the restaurant, he's like, "Ooh, I like her," and I feeling this whole time he was gonna make a move, and I went, "Huh," because she didn't push him away too, which
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, Joey, no.
Maybe
Why would you
that's
do that?"
something different she wants to figure out outside of
Right,
Dawson.
it's calling you, girl, like, instead of the you know,
Um,
but
but the lights come back on, and she kinda freaks out, and she just starts cleaning. Like, she just goes straight back to work. They don't even talk about it. She's just like
oh, poor thing. Oh, I feel for her so
Um,
much, I really
so Grams, gives Jen a lecture. She's like, "You need to respect yourself." She's like, "You're falling back into your old New York ways, and I'm not gonna have it under my roof." She's like, "You're gonna respect me."
know.
And she's
That's
like, "I'm not gonna have this behavior."
that's right.
So, um, Jack tells Joey that he'll close up, and she leaves, and she goes to Dawson's, and they like hang out on the roof outside his bedroom. And I think he explains to her like what's going on with his parents, like that they had like an open marriage or whatever. And he kind of breaks down, starts crying, and then like a Jewel song plays as we have like a musical montage of all the characters.
Yeah, I love that song. It's a good song.
And that was the episode.
Yeah, I think Joey also wanted to try to tell Dawson about the kiss because it just happened.
Yeah.
There's a couple moments where she's like, Dawson, I want to tell you something, and then he goes and he kind of talks about his family, and she just kind of gives up on trying to tell him what happened.
Yeah.
There was a lot of.
So episode 6 is titled The Dance, and we open in Dawson's bedroom, not with just Dawson and Joey though, but Pacey and Andy are there, and Andy's dancing to Footloose because they're watching Footloose anyways.
Yep.
And apparently there's a school dance happening this weekend that Andy's really excited about going to, and the other three are like, we don't do that. We don't really participate in things. She's like, you'd rather watch a movie about a school dance than actually go? And they're like, yeah.
Again, I love it. Andy coming in, literally clocking every single one of them. He's telling them what's up. Like, you guys, come on. We gotta like live our teenage lives. Like, it's like we're literally seeing a real life teenager in a juxtaposition to like these very intellectual teenagers that love Ace. Joey and Dawson, seeing the difference between the two of them is so funny because she's just like, you go to a dance to have fun and to potentially have sex. Like, it's.
She's like, guys. What kind of high school memories are you gonna have if all you did was bitch and moan about it? And they're like, bitching memories, moaning memories.
Literally.
So she's basically like, dancing's like foreplay, so we should just go. And they're like, all right, we'll go.
Oh, was that? Would you say sex? I like sex.
So Mitch and Gail break the news to Dawson that they've decided to separate, and that Mitch is gonna leave for a little bit. He's not happy about it. I felt the pain, especially when Mitch was like in his motel room and he was the first to call her, because you could tell he still loves her. I honestly didn't know who I felt bad for the most.
Yeah.
I feel like Gail is more visibly shaken by the situation.
Yeah, I think like Midge is giving me so much push and pull that it's like annoying me. It's kind of like, know your heart, dude. Like there's a lot of things like you just haven't had a lot of practice in like emotionally understanding yourself, and that's where all this is really coming from. Is that like, because not only does he call her first, but he rolls up like later on in the night, like just and then stares at her through the window longingly, and then I'm like, get out of the truck, dude. Go talk to her. Like, just let the forgiveness happen. Like, you know what I mean? It feels like he's fighting against the urge to forgive her because of ego. That's all it ever
feels like. Truck either. I feel like I would have heard the truck coming through the driveway and I would have looked out the window.
Seriously. So it's like all this like push and pull is really just getting to me about him. And it's just kind of like, dude, you want to forgive her because you love her. Like, love can be bigger than that. And it's like, if you could trust, it's even more important. Like, you know, that's really the question. It's like, can you actually trust her? If that is a hard no still, then then stay away. Stop playing with yourself.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like he keeps toying with his own emotions by like bringing himself, by calling, by showing up, by longingly staring at her. It's like, they're like, give in.
Andy thinks it's a good idea that they invite Jack to go to the dance with them, And Dawson's like, "Oh, I have a friend too, Jen." And Andy and Dawson are like, "Oh, we'll pair them up. They're both single." Like, and Pacey's like, "No, don't do it." He's like, "It never works out. Don't do it."
Of course, Joey's not there. Like, because
Right.
Joey's like, let's bring her to the dance with us because let's show her
Oh yeah,
friendship.
yes. When Joey was the one
Yeah,
that mentioned it, I was like, maybe my love story's back. Maybe Joey and Jen are in love.
get her away from Abby. She's the worst. Like it's because oh yeah. And also, Joey, my girl, he's toxic too. She's like, I don't like them together. And I was
Yeah.
like, she's like, they're not good together.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
Dawson's like, "Is
finally,
that concern for Jen that I'm seeing?" And she's like, "Well, she's had a rough time." She's like, "Her grandfather died." And I was like, "Oh my god, you care."
like I was surprise, surprise, Jen's going through it.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe be good
And
friends and actually be there for her instead of Abby.
yeah, yeah, actually, maybe like well, that's the whole thing is Joey and Dawson just like fell into each other, like how young couples do.
Yeah,
And Pacey was not a very good friend at all, unless like you know you really need it. But I felt like Pacey was always kind of like I let them do their own thing, and Jen just never really had a lot of foothold in the
right.
core group. I don't. Yeah.
Um, so Joey's dealing with a lot of guilt over this kiss with Jack, and she talks to Bessie about it, and Bessie's like, "The way I see it, he kissed you, you didn't kiss him back." So she's like, "You don't have to tell him anything."
Yeah.
And she's like,
I was on Bessie's train. I
"Yeah,"
was like,
and it would have
yeah,
worked. It would have worked if Joey could have just get over the whole like feeling guilty about it.
yeah. Also, like if Jack would just shut the fuck up, kill, killing
um,
me, bro.
so Abby has it in her head that she's going to break up the cheerleader that Pacey had a crush on, played by Allie Larder, and hook up with like the lead, the football player that she's dating. And at the dance, Andy's like trying her hardest to pair Jack and Jen together, like making them dance. um,
Mhm.
Dawson and Joey are dancing. They bump into Jack, and they're just acting weird. They're like, "Oh, sorry, sorry," and
Yep.
they're kind of side eyeing each other.
Yep.
Casey says he doesn't dance. He refuses to get out on the dance floor.
Killing me, bro.
Um, but then Andy's like, "Well, I'm gonna find somebody to dance with, and I'm not gonna dance with my brother, so I'm gonna dance with Dawson, and I'm gonna make Joey dance with Jack."
Yeah, I'm sitting there, like I have little to no notes about this episode because I kept going, oh my god, just kind of just and I'm like, I can't believe this is happening.
So they don't
Like
even
of course,
dance. They're just like outwardly having this conversation. Oh, by the way, I should know earlier in the episode they showed the blonde, I can't remember her name, um, and the football player having a fight, and Dawson and Joey
right?
just
Yeah,
said, "Could we not be that couple that fights in public and makes a scene?" So this leads up to
yeah,
them actually having a fight and making a scene. Like, um, but so Jack and Joey, they don't even dance because he like brings up the kiss, and she's like, "I don't want to talk about it," and they're just like going back and forth. And Dawson is like
yeah.
noticing that there's some tension between them. So Joey runs out, Jack runs after her, and she's like, "You weren't supposed to follow me." And
We'll talk.
they talk about the kiss. And of course, when Jack moves his head, Dawson's standing right there. And he's like, "What?"
But okay, so Dawson's eyes could have like exploded that guy's face. Like the way James Vanderbeek was just giving him like the worst, like it's like the look of like I am gonna lose it, like at any given second. I'm surprised he didn't clock him right then and there.
Yeah.
That was what I was expecting, like right at that moment. He wouldn't even be able to get a word out and just straight up oosh. But yeah, the shock again it was a moment of like just sitting there going, ah, ah.
So Joey
Like as
runs
soon as
into
he
the
moved,
girls' room, and since Dawson can't go in there, he follows Jack back into the gym. and he demands to know like what happened. And Jack admits that he kissed her, and he said, "And I do it again." And so Dawson hits him.
Real good one. Just right then and I was like, yep, he had that one locked and loaded probably from in the hallway. Like he
Yeah,
was ready to do it then. Like just perfect rage. And it's
yeah,
like also weirdly mirroring kind of like the situations going on with parents. Like
yeah.
they're in a very happy relationship, seem super in love, and things are getting all messed up because
It's because he said in
Joe.
the first episode, it's smooth sailing. We knew it wasn't going to be.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just literally like it's ever. I feel like again, it's the same thing. Joey has been expressing exactly what's wrong. She doesn't even know it's what she's doing, but it's what she's doing. Like when you look back on it, she's just like, I need something else outside of you.
Yeah,
Like nothing's changed. We're still the same. We just
yeah,
kiss. Like it's kind of all of these moments literally have been laying a pathway to exactly for this
right.
happening. Yeah.
Um,
It's just that.
there was a line. It happened way before all this, but it was at the dance where Abby like
Mhm.
walks by Jen and she's like, "Nice dress. I have the same one in a smaller size." I was like, "Oh, you're such a bitch."
Uh, so unnecessary. Like that's the thing about Abby that kills me is that there's never a reason for it.
Right.
It's just evil. Pure evil at the like on its just us. Like can't. You're just mean for the sake of it, girl.
Right. Um, so Pacey sees God, why can't I remember her name? The blonde.
We could just
Um,
call her Allie Water.
yeah. Out in the hallway, and she's like sad because Abby got her way. She was dancing with him, and Pacey basically gives her like an ego trip, telling her how hot she is and how she'd be any guy would be lucky to be with her. And she mentions like every dance has like a moment. She's like, maybe this is a moment, and she asks him to dance with her, and he does. And I'm like, after you told Andy you don't dance at all, you're dancing with her in the
Seriously.
hallway.
So it made me so mad. I was also not vibing with what he was wearing. And I was like, oh God, he feels
Yeah,
like
that
such a
weird like
princess
flip,
moment.
like the
Yeah,
collar
like
flips. Yeah, it was weird.
70s, lots of 70s vibes. And I was just sitting there, I'm like, oh God. And of course, Andy's going to catch them dancing in the hallway.
Yeah.
Like,
So Jack,
you just in
A
your butt.
battered Jack, walks Jen home, and as Andy like says goodbye to them, she sees them dancing, and of course, her and Pacey
Of
lock
course.
eyes, and she runs off.
Yeah.
Um.
It's so cool.
So Jack brings Jen home, and she said she thanks him. She says she actually had a really good time with him. And she said something that kind of made my antennas go up because
Mhm.
she said something basically like keep pursuing, you might get what you want if you just keep at it. And I was like, is she telling him
Yep.
to pursue Joey so she could get to Dawson? Is that why she's doing that?
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't know where Jen's at. Like, I don't know if he's like
She seemed
still
more
really
mellow in this episode because she wasn't really hanging with Abby so much.
right. And I don't know if going after Dawson's really the plot here, like for her.
Mhm.
Um, but I clocked that too. I thought the same thing. I'm like, are we trying to like plant seeds here for this kid that like foreseeing like potential like a rift between the two
Right.
of Joey and Dawson in a weird way. That he'd be there to catch her, or whatever. Um,
Also, I thought
or Jen.
when he walked Jen home, I'm like, she lives right next door to Dawson. I'm like, there is a chance you will run into Dawson again as you're like leaving Jen's house, like, and he'll hit you again.
Jen is an intuitive person. She clocked Joey's crush on Dawson well early into the meeting. So like
Mhm.
I want to give her the benefit of the doubt of not being the mean girl that wants to break up their relationship on purpose by doing something
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, we'll see.
Um. So Pacey finds Andy by the water and he apologizes. I felt like she let him off the hook a little too easy. It was just
Agreed.
and it was just like, "I'm a screw up,
1000%.
it's what I do." He's like, "I don't know why you like me," and she, like, gives him a laundry list of why she likes him, and she's like, "And this is more than you deserve." And then they just I don't know,
Yeah.
he asks her to dance, and they just, like, make up, and I'm like, You got off way too easy."
Yeah, I think it's like one of those scenarios where Andy likes her fixer-upper, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like a
Yeah.
little prop shop that she can, make better and do good, by her love. We all
But
that's me.
they had their first kiss. They did have their first kiss.
Yeah. Yes, they
During their little
did.
banter, he actually said, "Kiss?" And she was like, "Yeah." And they kissed. So it was
Yeah,
cute, it
I
was
think
cute.
that yeah, I love them. I do think Andy would be great for Pacey. I think like he needs someone that's gonna like support, actually support,
Mhm.
be there to like lift him up, gas him up, because he obviously don't get enough of it from anywhere else. So like
Right.
he does deserve someone that'll like, tell him he is brilliant and smart and witty and wonderful, you know?
I did
So
just rewinding to, like, before the dance, I laughed a lot when he pulled up in the cop car. I was like, "Why is he always stealing the cop car?"
yeah, he don't give a fuck. Like I love how much he like probably catches so much shit at home, but it does not stop him. He will continue doing it. He's
Right.
there. He's ready to do it because
Um,
his brother does gotta be getting in trouble for getting his car stolen by his brother all the
so
time.
Dawson returns home, and when he flicks the lights on in his room, there's Joey sitting there crying.
Yeah.
And, they basically have the same conversation where she needs to find herself and figure out what she likes outside of him, and she needs to do it on her own, she says, not with him. And she tries to leave, and he, like, blurts out, "I love you," which then she's like, "I love you too," and she kinda does that thing with her body where she's, like, gonna go for a kiss, but she stops herself, and then she goes to leave, and he's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "We can't just, like, tell each other that we love each other for the first time, then have it be over," and she's like, "See ya," and she's like, "I gotta go."
On her on her
So then he, like,
heartbreak.
trashes
So
his bedroom a little bit, and he goes out on the roof, sees her running across the lawn in heels, I think.
going down a ladder in a dress and clunky ass heels. That's literally what I thought going down the ladder. I'm like, this girl is crazy. I can't. Where's your
So
sneakers at?
so I'm assuming a rowboat so she could go home, cross the
Yeah.
row herself across the creek. And he,
God.
kicks her ladder down, and I was like, "Oh, the ladder's back that the dad took away 2 episodes ago."
Oh yeah. No, oh I just kept going. I legitimately felt bad for Dawson this minute because like I think he really does love her. Like I really do. I think this is like a for both of them the biggest truest love ever. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That
Yeah.
first one, oh, that first heartbreak is the worst, and I felt for him so badly because you could tell like it's confusing. Like it's big these big thoughts and big feelings. Like he loves her, she loves him. Like they can't be together. He just doesn't get it, and it's like it's because you guys need to grow up. That's why. Like if you guys truly love each other, your love will hold on while you grow up. She needs to go to France. You need to do something with you need to like live a life and
Right.
not like connect yourself to each other, which in a sense, that kind of love can be almost like a shackle. Like it holds you back from your fullest potential.
Yeah.
And it's just like that has to happen first. That's what it is. He just doesn't want to hear it because, hormones they be raging
So,
bad.
in the first season when they weren't together, you kept saying, "I don't want them to be together," and if they do, you were like, "I want them to break up." You're like, "I
No,
want
I
Dustin to
wanted
suffer." Do you still feel that way?
together. Oh no, what I wanted is that if they were gonna be together, that he needed to like see her happy living life and living it to the fullest that had nothing to do with him. That's what I wanted.
Okay.
That would have been the perfect world, but that doesn't make very good drama or TV show for that matter. That's why I don't write TV because everyone would have a happy ending and everyone would be perfect mature and understand each other forever. That's not good for anybody. So, like, that's what I was hoping for, but if since they're together, like, this is exactly how I anticipate, like, honestly, it's probably the most realist way a relationship of this status can go. Like, they're too self-aware too on top of it, so you can't get away
Yeah.
with much. Like, when we're
Yeah.
that young, I wasn't even close to emotionally self-aware enough to know that's what was the issue. I would just hang in there forever and ever and ever and ever until we
Well,
just finally break up.
now that they're broken up, you may
Mhm.
and Joey's trying to figure out what she wants and who she is. You may, in a roundabout way, get that of him longing for her and like she was
Mhm.
in season 1.
Yeah.
So
I'm
we'll
just
see.
nervous. I'm just nervous that Dawson is just not gonna understand the lesson for what it is. That it's gonna turn into like, because like you could go one of two ways. You can either actually understand that this is exactly what you both need, that he needs to grow, you needs to grow separately,
Yeah.
or he could take it as like horrific heartbreak, right? Internalize it and make it every woman's problem he's ever met in his entire life. You know, like I just hope it doesn't turn into Dawson making it a thing about his relationships that he's
Right.
to monitor, that he can't say I love you because you just run away from me or abandonment and all that nonsense. Oh gosh. Hope he learns his lesson and becomes a better person so then when they come back together, that they can actually like be together instead of like, infatuated with each other, which is kind of what they're at now. It's a difference
Yeah.
between the two.
So did you expect them to break up this soon? Like, were you expecting it?
I literally said, I'm like, oh, so we're breaking up halfway through season two.
Not even. We're
What?
like a
What?
third through season 2.
Because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I thought we'd at least make it to like season three before they decide, like the cliffhanger of season two. I was expecting to be like they break up, and then
Uh-huh.
you're like, oh no, but they are just moving at a clip that I
Yep.
have no idea. Like it's so fast. But okay, good. Go like I'm like, now you can go to France. Get out of here. Get on that
Now
plane.
you can go to
Like, do that thing. Do that thing. Or like get into art. Like I really do want to see Joey grow like into herself. Like not someone who's obsessed with someone else. And I want it for all of them. I want all of them to grow and be
Yeah.
better people. Specifically, like also Pacey. I know he's got a heart of gold in there. So like I'm really excited to see them actually like turn into real people. The will they won't they get back together thing, like to see how their dynamics are, can they be friends? That's also a lot of questions about it. It's like it gets messy. Like
Yeah.
this point forward, either make or break like what could be their future.
Right. Do
Mhm.
you have anything else to add on these episodes and from your notes?
I don't think so. I think we hit like everything. Did talk about Andy holding Dawson's underwear for an uncomfortably long time. And also, like the whole thing between Gail and Mitch. I want them to get it together. They're
Yeah.
like I feel like all this is always comes from my own personal experience. So like you just want things to just go better for these people.
Yeah.
And, like, I get Dawson being sad and upset about it, but he should have seen it coming. I think it's kind of, like, I thought he was a little unfair to Mitch, telling him he has to fix the relationship, and it's like, he doesn't have to fix it, he just has to decide for
Yeah.
himself how he feels. He
Right.
doesn't have to do anything with the relationship other than that. Like, I thought
Right.
that was a little unfair, but he's a kid. Nothing.
Well, in his mind, that's the only resolution is to forgive her and move on.
Right,
Divorce
and
is not
which
an
I think
option in Dawson's
right.
mind.
And I get why that could be shattering, because like your parents are like supposed to be the couple that you kind of set all of your examples against. But at the same time, like his dad was suffering, like really bad suffering. Like
Yeah.
Dawson was legitimately seeing what a lot of kids end up seeing once they get to that certain age, that their parents are human beings that make mistakes, that aren't
Yeah.
superheroes, that have feelings, that can be crushed, can be stuck, like he saw with his mom while she's trying to go to the damn dance so she can cry in peace and eat her ice cream on her own. Like moments of sitting there just like letting them trying to be real human beings for once instead of being like mom and dad all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and like, I feel like Dawson's being a little selfish in that moment because he wants his life to be right. And it's like putting that on your dad to like fix the relationship or to be that person even when he's heartbroken. It's not really fair.
Yeah.
And same thing about like, like I could be here for you, mom, like or whatever. It's like, no, get out so she can cry. Do a cover cry
Yeah,
while
just
you're
cutting
not
these damn
here.
onions.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like, I don't want you to see me ugly cry because that's what I'm about to do
Yeah.
into this ice cream. And then I also thought, man, I miss ice. So like, like I get it. Like it's
Yeah.
just kind of like that relationship. I hope can get somewhere where it can be more, healthy for both of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drama. A lot of the couples got a lot of drama, except for
Yeah.
Pacey. Happy with Andy now, so yay.
So now they need drama.
Until something like that happens, who knows? Maybe
All
Tamara will
right.
come back again.
Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of Dawson's Creek season 2. Next time you see us, we'll be talking about another batch of episodes, probably 3 more. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great night. Bye.